hard to picture. So that's interesting. Great. Okay. Just getting specific though on kind of what you're hearing from customers, if you have these conversations, whether you initiate it or they initiate. I mean, where are they at? Are they leading the charge here? Are they terrified by the train that's coming down the tracks at them? How do they see this?
Well, I think there's a combination of there's a combination of that, but the position that we as an organization need to take is to provide direction on what that warehouse of the future is going to, how it's going to operate, and the practices that need to be a part of that warehouse of the future to be continuing to adapt to the changes that are coming within the markets that they serve.
Okay.
So I think that there is always going to be the confusion between the deer in the headlights or the train coming down the tracks, or however you want to use that. Most organizations look at this as, some see it as an opportunity to outpace the competition, and others are just trying to figure out how long they can survive before change is forced upon them.
Gotcha.
So to be in a position to provide that guidance, obviously, can pull many of those laggards along to say, I have confidence in this organization to put me in a position to be able to address what I know are going to be future challenges.
Okay, terrific. Anybody else have any additional perspectives they'd like to add to this? I mean, this for us, this is gold. This is meat. This is good stuff. Star is typing her hands off.
That's right. All excited.
But we're recording it all. All right. Well,
I think there's a lot of content here.
I'm not sure what I didn't hear that comment.
It's Joe. I made the comment. I think there's a lot of content here to work on.
Yes, definitely. Okay.
Hey guys, this is John Kirshner. I would add that what we oftentimes see here in the field is that people have customer service obligations that they have to hit, and it's always going to be faster than it is today. Tomorrow is always going to be faster than today, but they have to do it in a way that's going to be cost effective. So there's much more, and that brings to the point of labor management systems and automation is the two have to intersect somewhere, because you have to make a profit to stay in business. So being able to hit the customer service obligation while continuing to service at that level or better than your current level while still making a profit through effective use of your labor and automation.
Got it. Useful. Yep.
Yeah, I think that the other facet that we haven't called out is as you think about enabling the workforce of tomorrow, we talk a lot about robots, AMRs, and automation and the way that it augments capacity. But we also spend a lot of time talking about how new interaction models particularly focused on voice. Though, at the end of the day, eventually, likely tools like augmented reality, also playing a role will be impactful increasingly in this supply chain of the future, both because they help with some of the things that John just mentioned around labor cost optimization and productivity improvement, but also because they also facilitate the adaptability of process improvement by making it easier to retread and retrain the workforce as you continuously evolve processes to adapt to changing market conditions.
Gotcha. Okay. Terrific. Great. Well, in that case, and we can always come back to this if we need to as other points arise. But I think we have, as Joe said, we have some good meat there. So let's, if we can, jump forward and talk just a little bit about your solutions products, what we might call offerings, just to kind of see how they play in. As was mentioned earlier, we don't necessarily go into a lot of detail on this within the messaging, but I think it will be helpful, particularly in light of the kind of broader spectrum that you now have to offer. So this is actually what we talked about when we last did this in 2015, and so I guess we don't necessarily have to drill down into every single solution, but are the overall buckets still meaningful and still kind of the places that we should be looking to kind of divide the supply chain up? Now, when you all talk over each other, I don't know what to do.
Well, I think you're missing. You're looking at supply chain execution. If you look at overall supply chain, there's also a planning component, which I don't know whether or not we wish to get involved with. But there's planning, forecasting, demand planning systems that are very large components of supply chains.
So surely, is that part of the story that we want to be telling, guys and ladies?
Well, it's not a current capability that we have. So I don't know.
Chad, any thoughts on that?
I was going to say to that point, John, that we interface with network and e-com now. Those aren't really capabilities we own anymore. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bill, Chad, any thought? Is this? Let me ask you first. Is this a meaningful conversation for this exercise? Maybe we're going a little deeper than is necessary this time around. But if it is, maybe you can help us understand a little bit about what we should be talking about.
No, I think it's meaningful, but to John's point and to Jackson's point, the other part of our company last time we did this was True Commerce, and they were primarily focused on those two far right-hand buckets, network and e-com.
Yes.
So we're probably, while we still work with those guys, I don't think it'll be a focus for this particular remessaging, but
okay.
Chad or Sean, jump in and chime in and tell me if I'm right or wrong on that.
I would agree.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, appreciate that. We'll shift later.
Okay.
And Bill, I would think I would extend the supply chain planning as well. We at some point in time that may change, and we may have that as a core competency. But if this is about business positioning, we don't want to position on something that isn't a core strength.
Gotcha. So what we have left then is, sorry, Sean, I forgot that you don't have the screen in front of you. Transportation, WMS, retail, and DSD. Okay.
I think my question for the group, again, I'll need some help on this, is where do we try to connect the dots around WCS? I mean, I know it's a clever solution, but we want to be that part. That be part of the messaging. Should we put a placeholder just to kind of know that we have to talk about it?
Yeah, in my mind, it's like we have a big bucket of warehouse that includes, core warehousing, yard management, parcel shipping, warehouse control, all of these things, and then transportation and retail and DSD are kind of smaller emphasis that probably don't carry the same weight as warehousing,
Yep.
And Chad, do we want to, with voice, would that fall under warehousing, or would that go in a bucket?
I put voice as a component of warehousing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Voice.
For Rory, for your benefit, to Chad's point, to give it scale, out of 142 million roughly, 23 of that is transport, retail, and DSD. So almost 120 out of 140 is WMS. So that's the scale of size of WMS compared to the other three. Big box, tiny little boxes.
There we go.
There you go.
Gives a whole new meaning to the word big box. Yeah, got it. Okay, we're getting things in proportion here. Thank you. That's actually really helpful. Yeah. Perfect. Got it, Star. Thank you. Okay. Great. And so the new technologies that you've been talking about, augmented reality, machine learning, and those kind of things, are those also going to play primarily inside the warehouse? Part of the supply chain. That's where you're expecting to see this.
My perspective would be that augmented reality would be much like voice. It would play in the same area as voice, but machine learning would play a role across our entire product stack. Okay.
And any of the other buzzwords that we want to plug in here, if they have specific places, or if they're across the board, then we don't need to reiterate them.
I think IoT is cloud.
Yep.
Cloud, was that?
I think cloud is a ubiquitous one that will apply to all of the solutions, Rory. And then I think IoT is another one that will participate in if not all, certainly most of those over time.
Got it. Okay. That's great. All right. Well, if we have that, then I think this is helping us form a picture of the solutions from your perspective. And then just if we step forward, Sarah, we're going to look at. I know we're jumping, but I'm trying to make sure we keep the pace on this. So all the people who are buying. So we're going to kill the people on the right. The two boxes on the right, we don't care about them. So maybe we do actually, but let's leave it for now. So this is the exercise we did last time. So just wanted to make sure that we're still validating that the people that we're talking to in each case are the characters you see on the screen here. So in transportation, let's start with WMS. Let's start with the warehouse. So it is first and foremost the CFO, Director or VP of Operations, and CIO. We have those in bold as being the most important members of the decision-making unit. And then as well, in many cases, CEO, COO, owner in some cases, an ops logistics manager, and then obviously the role of consultants and resellers in there as well. Is that audience, is that target still valid for today's story or the vision story?
I would say so. There's an additional title that's out there. Sometimes we run into titles that are, director, VPs of supply chain, or there's even supply chain officers. But
okay, yeah, supply chain officer, got it. Okay, yep, or VP, got it. Yep. Okay, great. So what about in the other areas of the supply chain? What about on transportation? Owner, president, in many cases the same person?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. How about on the retail side?
I think same, owner, president.
Okay.
They're both of those are mostly small businesses, very small businesses.
Sure. And then DSD?
Owner, operator.
Yep.
DSD, accounting, that still stands.
Okay.
Those
great
highlights.
Okay. Any other players that we should be aware of? We have buyers as the title here, but it's really audiences that we're talking about for this exercise. Oh, thank you, Sarah, fixing it on the fly. Anybody else that we're trying to address with this story?
High-level industry analysts and media. It's kind of off in its own bucket, but
yes.
That is another one.
Yeah, of course. That's absolutely the case. Yeah, that's great. Analysts and the media. Okay, great.
Friday afternoon.
We'll do this. We'll do the spell check later. Yes, go ahead.
Rick, I'm surprised. Rick, I'm surprised you didn't say you wanted to impact our competitors with this message.
Well, I don't want to get into the firearm side of the business. I'd like to shoot my competition.
Well, I guess if we're getting into analytics and media, does that mean we create a bucket for what we're doing with some of the consulting firms and some of the partners? I don't know if we're going to create a bucket outside of.
I think that's up there already, Joe, up on the WMS side. The last two, consultant, reseller, partner. But I think there was a stronger emphasis today than there was when we did this last time, for sure, to your point.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, that is a good point. Duly noted, or will be duly noted in just a moment.
I might even kind of bold, and this would be a question more for Rick and Craig, but might even bold those as being kind of one of the more important people that we're trying to influence these days, consultants and resellers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So folding that one there. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Thanks.
That is good. Good. Okay, let's keep moving along. I like the brisk pace. I think we're covering a lot of ground here. Please feel free to sing out if I don't address you directly. I just want to make sure that we keep the pace, but I want to make sure we have everyone's input as we go. So, am I going to
I was, but why don't we team up? Because why don't you want to cover off on what this was,
Yes. So let me just, again, we're looking a little bit at what we did before, and we're looking at, in the first instance, our question is, why would a prospect buy any solution in this category? What benefits are they looking to achieve from any solution of this kind, of the kind that you offer? And obviously that's a fairly broad mandate. And last time, these were the things that we came up with collectively that prospects were looking for. Anything that has changed here, anything that's missing, or anything that's maybe no longer relevant, I think I find that one hard to imagine.
And this is today. We're going to do an exercise in a minute looking to the future.
Yes, that's true.
So don't worry about that aspect.
The current stage. Does this pretty much cover it?
Flexibility.
Sorry, what?
Flexibility?
Adaptability.
Okay, thank you.
Adaptability, thank you.
Yep.
And Sean can't. Did you read it out?
Sean can't see this. Okay, so Sean, we have on this list accurate real-time information, scalability, reduced total cost of ownership, improved efficiency, breadth of solution suite, gaining operational visibility, and just added adaptability. Okay.
So I guess I would ask the question, does the topic of, I'll call it the plateau effect, deserve an individual call out, or is it really a conglomeration of the others? The fundamental rationale, especially in the mid-market, is I simply can't grow my business anymore. I've hit the plateau for what I can do with spreadsheets or with my existing homegrown system or whatever it is.
Right.
I've hit the plateau. I cannot get there.
Yeah, I think if you ask the question, is that a valid one? I think that you've answered your own question. Absolutely. Let's put it in there. Breaking through from the plateau.
Okay.
Or it's not what you do, the plateau, but we get it. Yeah. Okay.
Is the word simplicity? I think that kind of falls under adaptability, but I think having something that's easy to use, easy to learn is important.
All right.
That's great.
You got that?
Yep.
Do we think proven track record falls in here?
I don't know that that's a benefit per se. I think we're going to get to that in just a moment as a differentiator, if you don't mind me putting that in the parking lot just for a moment. We're really going to say, what is the benefit to me as a buyer for taking your technology or taking anyone's technology, be it yours or somebody else's. Let's step forward and we'll see how this exercise plays out. Oh, I'm sorry.
One more that we emphasize a lot in our strategy process is supply chain expertise.
Okay, so they're looking to gain expertise from the vendor?
Yeah. Supply chain expertise we have in-house that we partner with, our consultants, our project managers, etc.
Got it.
So just
okay. So that also sounds like it's both a benefit here and a differentiator when we talk about those in just a moment.
Yeah, probably.
Terrific. Okay, let's look then at, so when prospects are looking to choose between you versus other suppliers, they'll typically draw up a short list of criteria and kind of check you off or check you off against each other. So what's on that list? What criteria do they use to evaluate different solutions?
For today. And so, for Sean,
ability to mitigate risk.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Sean, for your assistance here, price, functionality, reputation / referrals, service and support, integration with other systems, vertical market success, implementation timeline and process, and then lastly, just added ability to mitigate risk.
So again, not necessarily things that you excel in, or I'm sure that you do, but just what things do they consider when selecting a vendor? Any other thoughts?
I'm assuming that cost of ownership and price are the same thing.
It's a more sophisticated way of looking at it. I think some people may, it's worth having both.
I was going to say the same.
Cultural match is another criteria.
Okay.
And I would say it's increasingly important to have global coverage. We're seeing a lot more customers having cross-ocean requirements.
Got it. So, and again, forgive me, I'm not totally au fait with all the voices, but I want to make sure that Craig and Rick are speaking because you guys are talking to these people all the time.
Yep,
you're there.
I'm out there talking.
I got you. Okay, now I recognize. Now I won't ask you again. I'll be paying attention. Thank you. All right, great. So then,
and I think I don't know if we have it here or not. Maybe it's around functionality. I don't know, but return on investment.
Okay.
I think time to value is also something to be called out here that we're seeing a lot more than just simply the services timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot more specific on that questioning. Okay. Great.
All right.
And then let's move now. Oh, let's not do this. You know what, Star? Let's not do this. This is last time. Let's jump to the future one and use this.
Do that one.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was expertise.
Okay. So our last question here then is on differentiators. You can see it on the screen. What characteristics would make a buyer prefer high jump over the competition? So these truly are the what makes you different and what makes you better. And this list currently says expertise, comprehensive, integration with other systems, vendor agnostic with a question mark. I'm not sure where the question mark was from.
That was an internal note.
Oh, got it. A technology stack, the option to have both cloud and on-premise solution, simplifying complexity, and being innovative.
So these came out of primarily our own research of going back through the background materials Bill and others shared with us and our initial briefing. By no means necessarily is this intended to be comprehensive, but this was being introduced to this project from just recently. This is what we pulled away from that.
So I would ask you, and maybe I'm just going to call you out specifically, Bill and Chad, anything that we need to add here?
I'm just reading through it here. Give me a second.
I'm kind of surprised that price isn't on here.
Well, keep in mind, this was just what we pulled from a few high-level background materials, so this list is intended to be expanded upon, without a doubt. So.
No, I agree.
I would put it in there.
You mean it should be on there, Rick?
Well, we don't want to kind of dilute everything down to, how much did I pay for it, and I chose them because of price, but I think it's an attribute of the total package or total reasoning that maybe someone buys us.
I think that I think that really price is. I think it's total cost of ownership, right? I think it really comes down to there's how much does it cost me to sign an agreement and enter into a relationship with somebody, but then how much does it cost me to stay married to that person for a long time? Yeah. So that to me is what we want to be more of a key differentiator.
So we got plenty of time.
And have a message around that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, well, I think there's another element to both the previous slide as well as this slide, and that is understanding. And that's a kind of a broad term, but it's really having confidence. Our job, my job, Rick's job on the sales side is always to try to shorten the leap of faith that everybody has to make to make an investment in High Jump and enter into a partnership. And they want to know that we fully understand their condition. And then once that's accomplished, we really do give them the confidence to move forward with us as an organization. All of these other factors come in, but they're never going to have that psychological ability to move forward unless they know we understand.
Yeah, I think that comes back to what Rick was saying earlier about thought leadership. I think that really comes into play here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think what Craig's going to too is a little bit about what we talk about with our culture, right? Because we talk about that a lot. I think the way we go about a sale, the way we approach, the way we listen, the way we go is different from how our competitors do. Craig, you talk about that a lot.
Consultative sales.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Absolutely. We talk about the changing face of the market that we serve, which has been our competitors have dominated it when it was a much more traditional marketplace. The break with tradition helps us where we have an ability to have a culture, an understanding, a technology that allows us to